obviously goes without saying that it's been an exciting week. Happy to be back in camp with the guys. Guys have worked hard. Um, a lot on the line for us in the next couple of weeks, but guys seem to be up for the challenge and very excited.
Yeah, same for me. Just happy to be with this group, and we've had a really good week and a half of training, and excited for the opportunity ahead.
This one's for both of you. Both of you have experience playing against Uruguay, and obviously, what was it? Uh, Seems like a million years ago that you actually played them and lost that game in Washington State. Um, what are some of the things that they do really well that you have to counter? What are some of the things that you have to take care of especially well when playing Uruguay?
Yeah, look, I mean, since that game as well, I think fair play to them. They've improved substantially. I mean, they had a magnificent win in the World Cup against Fiji. I think they've invested heavily in their high performance program, and they've definitely a heavily improved team. I think they what I would call is you know pretty stock standard South American team. They've got big, strong forwards and very young, exciting backs. So that makes for quite a lethal combination. Very similar to Argentina, really, in many ways. So I think what we're going to have to do is first and foremost we're going to have to take care of the threat that their forwards are going to pose us up front. They've got quite a lot of industrious moves off the line out, score a lot of tries off the line out, and not scared to move the ball around as well. So we're going to have our work cut out for us. We're going to have to have a very strong work rate, but also be very smart around how we conduct ourselves around the set piece. Because again, just like as I said, just like a typically well coached South American team, they're going to have a good strong forward platform, and then they're going to use that to launch off. So I suppose it's a bit of a cliche answer, but I mean, again, strong set piece, and but they're not a one-dimensional team by any stretch of the imagination. They will move the ball around, so we're going to have to be on our game.
Yeah, just on the
Yeah.
back of what Gary said, they when they get momentum, they really get their tails up, and they like to play. So first and foremost, stopping that momentum that Gary's talking about with their set piece, and then we get that right, we're in a lot better spot of dealing with their threats out wide. Um, and then when they do, and if they get momentum, sticking together and just staying in the game because they love to offload. They've got really skillful backs. They love late tips. They move the ball around really well. So us just staying connected as a group and taking away their threats and not being individualistic.
Piggybacking on that, I mean, uh, for me, Uruguay also they kick really well, giving up penalties. I mean, nobody wants to give up penalties, but especially in the altitude in Glendale, they could probably punish you from 55 meters or so.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a factor. I mean, that's a factor with any team, but our discipline in St. John's wasn't very good. We did address it in the second game, but it's something that's a constant work on for us. So um, again, they've got pretty good guys on the floor as well, so we're going to have to look after the ball and make sure we, as you say, don't give away silly penalties. And again, we're back into this weird scenario of aggregate. So we're going to definitely want and need the scoreboard to be ticking over in our favour.
Bryce, against Canada, I mean, you went into that game in a deficit and erased that, and then you were in control. What did that feel like, and were you personally worried, like, hey, we haven't won this yet, we've got to close out the game?
Yeah, just from the start of the game, we tried not to think about the deficit. We had a game plan going in, and we just stayed true to that as best we could. Um, they had a few penalties early on, and we just stuck in the fight. We knew that we could wear them down with our big ball carriers and our just really strong intent to play that we didn't have as much when we were up in St. John's. And we just stuck to it, and eventually they wore down, and the scoreboard just kept getting more and more in our favor. And it was one where the foot was never going to be off the gas until that last whistle was blew. Um, yeah, and we just stuck to it. So the mindset didn't change from minute 1 to minute 80. It was the same. We just got to keep stay to script and keep pounding them.
Tactically on the 50-22, how is that factoring into your plans? Do you see that as a weapon or as a danger with a team like Uruguay? Um, and I guess, are you still learning how to fit that in?
I'll answer the second question. Yeah, we are still trying to adapt, as all teams are trying to adapt to it. Um, Still trying to get my head around the logic of it. Considering I watched the Premiership game the other day and they had 44 kicks by half time, I'm not sure the logic behind opening the backfield to run more is working, but World Rugby can convince themselves as much as they want to. I think it is going to be a threat this weekend, because particularly because we're at altitude and the ball does travel so much further. So um, it is something that we've spoken about. Again, I, I'm I'm skeptical of making too much of it, because again, when it goes wrong, it could go spectacularly wrong. I mean, ultimately, we want to keep the ball in hand. We want to play an attractive brand of rugby. But if that opportunity does arise, then we want to take that opportunity. And if they are going to leave the backfield open and there's an opportunity for us to kick it in there, then it'll be brilliant if we can retain possession by kicking the 50-22. But um, it's also more about the fact that we're going to have to watch out for it, you know, with them against us. I mean, interestingly enough, we saw, AJ went for 50-22 last week, and they actually, with our kick pressure, they ended up dotting it down. So, and it was from there that Ruben got the drop goal. So it's interesting how these things are working out at the moment now. So it's it's work in progress for all of us. Yeah.
Right, interesting. And sort of extension of that with Bryce. I think a lot of fans would love to see you in the open field a little bit more, but the way the game is played seems like you're more of a battering ram. But what are your thoughts and hopes that we could see you and Tavita Lepetti, find a little space and maybe run over some people in open field?
Oh, definitely. Look, we like Gary said, we want to play with the ball in hand. Kick battle is such a big part of the game, but what it leads to is it leads to open field opportunities, and that's where hopefully Lepetti and I can find ourselves running in a little bit more space, and against a couple defenders. So it's just it'll happen when it happens. It's just part of the game. We got to find ourselves and take care of our roles first and foremost, and then when those opportunities arise, we will take them.